It's me, the tree guy!
The entire Unleashed set has been spoiled, and like many other people, I've been doing some early testing. For this video, I'll be discussing Lillia Bashful Bloom. Lillia is a calm and mind legend with the ability to pay 4 energy and exhaust herself to create a readied sprite token. This ability costs 1 less for each temporary unit Lillia controls. Sprites are 3 might unit tokens with temporary, meaning they die at your next beginning step before holding. Since the sprites come in readied, this ability allows Lillia to always threaten a battlefield. And even if they die on your next turn, if your opponent didn't do something about the sprite that was sitting on the battlefield, then it's still a potential point that your opponent was denied. Also, since sprites die before holding, they allow you to defend a point while freeing up the battlefield on your turn, so you can trigger conquer effects again. Sprites put a surprising amount of pressure on the opponent to do something. Lillia's signature spell is Lilting Lullaby. For 2 energy and 2 power, you can counter a spell, and that spell's controller can't play spells this turn. This is just a really powerful counterspell, and it'll probably see play in most Lillia decks regardless of how they're built, because of just how generically good the card is. Lillia's champions are Lillia Fey Fawn and Lillia Protector of Dreams. Lillia Fey Fawn is a 3 might unit for 3 energy that has Accelerate and the ability, when I move from a location, create a sprite token there. This is a little weird because the token is made where Lillia moved from, and the token also can't move because it's not readied. So it seems like you want to accelerate her at a battlefield and then move her back to base to create a sprite on defense. Lillia Protector of Dreams is a 4 might unit for 5 energy that gets 1 might until the end of your turn every time you play a token unit. She also gives your token units tank. These champions are pretty different and probably belong in different decks. Lillia Fey Fawn wants to move around constantly to keep generating tokens, while Protector of Dreams wants to hold a battlefield and use tokens as a shield. I've tried a bit of both, and personally, I prefer a more aggressive tempo build using Lillia Fey Fawn, because holding is still quite hard to do because of cards like Thousand-Tailed Watcher. Let's talk about some cards that Lillia might play. Since sprites make Lillia's ability cheaper, almost every single card that makes sprites feels pretty playable in Lillia. Sprite Fountain is a 2 energy and 1 power for a gear with temporary that creates a readied sprite token when it enters and when it dies. So it creates a sprite and then creates another sprite the next turn. This is an amazing turn 1 play because even if you lose tempo by recycling on turn 1, you usually get 2 points from it, 1 from each sprite. Getting early points is really good in Lillia because it quickly forces your opponent to try and hold battlefields, which then makes it easier to get value trades with your sprites. Sprite Call is 3 energy to create a readied sprite. Sprite Call is pretty expensive for a single sprite, costing a card and 3 energy, when our legend ability is 4 energy and no card for a sprite. But the fact that it can be hidden still makes it potentially worth including. Sprite Mother is a 3 might unit for 4 energy and 1 power that creates a readied sprite token. Sprite Mother is a decent amount of stats for her cost, and she helps apply pressure while still building up your base for the next turn. Sprite Burst is 5 energy to create 2 readied sprites. This card is simple, but has been really powerful in practice. Sprite Burst gives you 6 might accelerated, which can also be spread across both battlefields. Going second, this card usually just gets me 2 points on turn 2. Sprite Queen is a 6 might unit for 7 energy and 1 power, who creates a readied sprite when played and at your beginning phase. Sprite Queen is a very good card because she generates a lot of value turn after turn. I think she's comparable to Vanguard Armory, which serves as a finisher in some control decks. However, unlike Vanguard Armory, she's also very big herself at 6 might, so you can sit back with her at your base while she makes sprites, and then use her for a big push when you're trying to get the winning point. The final card that makes sprites is Trevor Snoozebottom. Trevor is a 3 might unit for 3 energy with shield and the ability to create a sprite when he holds. This is the only sprite generator that I'm really not sold on. It's pretty hard to continuously hold a battlefield, and Trevor Snoozebottom is just not that big. I feel like if you're able to generate sprites with Trevor, you are probably ahead on board to begin with. Since we're making so many sprites, one card that is really good with Lillia is Heart of Dark Ice. Heart of Dark Ice is a gear that costs 3 energy and 1 power. It can exhaust itself to give a unit 3 might this turn. Heart of Dark Ice makes your decently threatening sprites into actual big threats, letting you get a lot of value out of your legend ability. Smoke and Mirrors is a 2 energy action speed spell with Hidden that lets you swap position of 2 units as long as at least one of them has temporary. You also draw a card. This card is interesting, but I mostly just see it as a combo with Lillia Faefon. For example, if you accelerate Lillia from base, you can conquer a battlefield, leaving a token behind at the base. If you then hide or keep up energy for Smoke and Mirrors, when your opponent attacks in, you can swap Lillia with the token at base while leaving behind another token at the battlefield, meaning you have 6 might on defense and your Lillia is safe at base while you draw a card. It's a cute interaction, but I don't know if that makes this card good. Finally, Thousand-Tailed Watcher is also very good in this deck. I know Watcher is good in most decks, but here it feels extra strong because the early aggressive points force your opponent into holding pretty quickly. All the other cards to consider are just common mind staples like Defy, Discipline, and Stupefy. Removal is also pretty important in some matchups because there's cards like Vex Apathetic which completely shut down sprites. For battlefields, Duskrose Lab is easily Lillia's best battlefield. It says you can kill a unit here at the start of your beginning phase to draw a card. This lets you kill your sprites to draw a card before they would just disappear on their own. It's basically Lillia's version of Grove of the Godwillow, because you can just keep drawing turn after turn if you reconquer with the sprite. Black Flame Altar is a battlefield that gives temporary units shield. This battlefield has been pretty good because it usually does nothing for your opponent while making your sprites slightly bigger on defense. The final battlefield I think works well is Targon's Peak, which says when you conquer here, ready 2 runes at the end of your turn. Since your sprites die before holding, you get to reconquer it each turn. You also always have a way to dump a bunch of energy with Lillia's legend ability, so the 2 extra energy is usually pretty useful. These are the cards I recommend you buy right now if you want to play Lillia when she comes out. Sprite Call, Sprite Mother, and Heart of Dark Ice are good enough with Lillia's legend ability that I think they'll see play. If you believe in Hold Lillia, it might be good to pick up a few copies of Sona Harmonious. I would also recommend picking up Targon's Peak if you don't already have one. The rest of these recommendations are staples, and which ones you want to run are basically up to you. Defy, Stupefy, Discipline, On Guard, and Charm are all good interactive spells. Consult the Past works well with how aggressive sprites are, so you can usually play it from Hidden. Singularity, Wages of Pain, and Bellows Breath are all good removal options, while Ravenbloom Student and Plundering Poro are considerations for more turn 1 plays. Finally, Thousand-Tailed Watcher is recommended, but it's not exactly a cheap pickup right now, so maybe wait on that and hope more Origins gets printed to lower some prices. Alright, that's it for this one. Let me know in the comments how you would build Lillia, or which other legends from Unleashed you want me to talk about next. If you enjoyed the video, or it helped you out in some way, consider leaving a like or subscribing for more Riftbound content. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.